Good morning, and welcome to my newest episode of me watching every Nicolas Cage movie he's ever starred in. Today's episode is just about one movie, Deadfall. Deadfall is about a con artist named Joe, and during a con at the beginning of the movie, Joe accidentally kills his father, a fellow con man. During his final few moments of life, he sends his son, Joe, on a task to go find his uncle and get something that his uncle took from his father years ago. I'm just going to get it out of the way. This movie was terrible. By far the worst movie I've seen yet, and it's not even a competition. And I'm about to sound biased. I know, of course I'm about to say this, but the only redeeming part about this movie was Nicolas Cage, and I swear I'm not just saying that. Now, I'll get into why that is a bit later, but I'll just get this out of the way. Spoiler alert, I'm going to go into some more detail, but do not watch this movie. Nicolas Cage's character dies in like the first 40 minutes, and after that, over half of the movie is just unwatchable when he's not there. This movie was written and directed by Christopher Coppola, the brother of Nicolas Cage, which explains why Nicolas Cage is in this movie. He's also, obviously, the nephew of Francis Ford Coppola. Now, to be fair to Christopher, originally the starring guy, Joe, who's not played by Nicolas Cage, was supposed to be Val Kilmer, but right before production started, Val Kilmer dropped out. The studio slashed his budget from $8 million to $3 million, and they had to get, honestly, I can't remember the actor's name, but he was really boring, by the way. We'll get into that in a bit. But, so I get kind of what happened, but I don't think any amount of money would have saved this movie. So at first, I thought that this movie was a comedy because of, mostly because of Nicolas Cage's character is so over the top and insane that it had to be a comedy. But I looked everywhere, and every place I could find this movie had it listed either as a drama, thriller, crime thriller, suspense, in that realm of genre. Nowhere did it say it was a comedy, which is unfortunate because that means this movie was trying to be serious, which it failed at spectacularly. So now that you know a bit about the movie, let's get into the many problems that I have with it, starting with the shitty narration throughout. I'm not completely against narration. There are definitely instances where it's really good. For example, the opening scene of Lord of the Rings. Great narration. Does so much to build this world, get you excited. I love it. It's so good. A great job of narration. It explains what needs to be explained so you can know what's happening in the movie. This narration, however, does none of that. It's neither exciting, world building, important in any way. It's just narration for narration's sake, and honestly just feels super lazy. Most of it you could have just implied or done visuals or gotten your point across in the dialogue, but no, they just decided to do narration. It's just so boring.
The beginning of the end started out normally enough. I was in the middle of a deal, trustworthy as ever. My pop used to say I was the best loyalty man he'd ever seen. I played the all-American boy. People thought they could pull the wool over my eyes. Well, that was my con, and it never failed.
That doesn't get you excited to watch the movie whatsoever. And it happens throughout, just at random spots. He just starts narrating over what's happening. And some of it's even already implied and seen. It feels like they just thought we were stupid and didn't get it, so they had to narrate over it so we could understand this unbelievably complex story. But I do get why there was narration, because the dialogue in this movie is terrible. I'll be honest, there's not a single real-life conversation in this movie. At no point in this movie did I watch it and think, oh, well, that's a conversation that two people would have with each other. It feels like it was written by aliens who had watched human interaction for about 20 minutes and decided to write a movie. It's just so awkward and clunky. It kind of reminds me of, if you've ever seen that interview with Mark Hamill, and he's talking about some of the dialogue issues that George Lucas had, and he won't read the line because he's like, no one talks like this, George. But unfortunately, no one there was Mark Hamill, and they just went with the lines and the dialogues as they were written, and it sounds terrible. There's no real life conversations.
Get comfortable.
Damn, I love watching people. Damn, business is really booming out there, huh? Look at all those happy people. You can learn a lot from just watching people.
At so many points while watching this, I literally just said, who talks like this? Why are they speaking to each other like this? It's so awkward. My next big complaint kind of feeds into the dialogue/writing issues. The characters in this movie are so boring. There's only one interesting character, and yes, believe it or not, it's Nicolas Cage's character is very interesting. We'll get into him in a bit. But everyone else is just so boring. It's either some cliche or just uninterested character. And the worst is our main character, Joe. He is just not interesting in any shape, way, or form. He's not particularly charming. I mean, he's a good-looking guy, but he's not charming in any way. He's not inherently smart or strong. He just is kind of there. He's not interesting at all. His main love interest is super boring, and honestly, no offense to her, but I don't even know why she's in this movie. She plays a part in it. I'll get into that when I talk about the plot, but that part's kind of confusing. I don't think it's an acting problem, although the main actor who played Joe wasn't great. But even if it was Val Kilmer like it was supposed to be, he's not saving this movie. It's written so poorly. Speaking of poor writing, it's time to talk about the plot and this super convoluted plan that is kind of the reveal at the end of the movie. So, like I said, this movie's about con artists. And I kind of lied at the beginning. It's revealed at the end that Joe did not actually kill his father. That his father faked his death during a con in order to pull a con on his brother. So when Joe goes looking for his uncle, he finds him, and he's a bookie, and he runs like his cons and stuff. And as the plot progresses, Joe has to help out with a con. Now, it's the same type of con where he accidentally killed his father. Basically what it is Joe goes and finds a buyer for some product that his con artist friends are selling. And when the buyer gets there, he shows them the money. They have another team of con artists that pretend to be the police that show up, be like, hey, get on the ground. And so basically they like drop the money and run, and then they just take the money. But to sell it, Joe has to shoot the main seller, which in the original con was his father, and this con is going to be his uncle. And the second time this con is happening, it's his uncle who's the seller this time, and he hesitates and doesn't shoot him, and his uncle gets shot by somebody else. And a whole shootout happens between the fake police and the buyers, and Joe just gets down, takes the money, and runs off. While he's running, he sees this woman. Now, he has seen this woman before. She was putting flowers at the grave of his father. He couldn't find her. She, disappeared after he saw her. But he sees her again as he's running away. And he chases her down. He finds her. And he corners her. The reason why he's confused is because this woman looks like his deceased mother. When he gets to her, it turns out it was his love interest the whole time, dressed up as his mother. And he's basically, wait, what the hell's going on? Then, to the surprise of, I hope, no one, because this was so obvious, his dad comes out of the dark tunnel and is like, howdy, son.
Hello, Joe. What do you know?
And he's obviously confused. What? You're supposed to be dead. And he's like, it was a con all along. We just couldn't let you in on it. But why? Why couldn't he let his son in on it? Why couldn't he just tell him, hey, we're going to go con your uncle. This is what you got to do. That would have been so much easier. And I'm sorry if this got super confusing. It's, like I said, it's not written very well, so I'm doing my best to convey this stupid plot to you guys. So this was the plan from Joe's dad's point of view. I'm going to fake my death, convince my son that I've died, send him to go look for my brother. He finds my brother. He gains his confidence. They do a con together. The con goes wrong. He's able to take the money. For some reason, follows this random woman that he saw once, follows her into a corner, finds me, and we'll just split the money, and he's not going to be upset that I faked my death. It doesn't make sense. And part of the problem of why it doesn't make sense is it feels like when they were writing this movie that they would write a page, tear it out, and then throw it out the door and write the next one. Because it felt like they would say a line, a few minutes would go by, and then they'd say something that just doesn't make any sense to what happened before, or contradicts what was said before. I'll give you an example. There's this scene where Joe has to go and gain the confidence of the buyer for the second con with his uncle. And to do so, he first has to, for some reason, play billiards with this pool hustler, played by Charlie Sheen.
Goddamn. I'm good.
And so they play for like tens of thousands of dollars, and Joe loses. So Charlie Sheen's character is like, hey, you owe me however tens of thousands of dollars it was. And obviously, Joe doesn't have that. And he goes, hey, I don't have that much money. He goes, but I do have this very expensive watch that I won in a poker game. And these two security guys come out, and Charlie Sheen's like, hey, give them the watch and basically I'll have it appraised. So they go take it in the back room and they come back out. And Charlie Sheen just goes, you're going to have to go with those men. So they take him in. So he goes in, and there's this one-armed dude with like a go-go gadget arm for some reason. And he's like a diamond appraiser / expert. And he's the guy that they're looking for. He's the buyer that they want to con. So they force him to come in, they sit him down, and after some introductions, the guy behind the desk says, so what can I do for you? But Joe didn't ask to see him. Joe was forcefully dragged into his office, sat down because he owed a debt. And the guy goes, what can I do for you? And Joe's just like, hey, I know a guy who's selling a bunch of expensive diamonds for $2 million. It's going to be a great deal for you. You want to do it? And the guy's like, yep, sure. I remember I had to pause it and go back because it didn't make any sense. Joe owed money to the pool hustler. The pool hustler's like, oh, you're going to have to go with those guys then because you're not going to pay me my money. They sit him down. He's like, what can I do for you? And then they just make a deal about something. And it wasn't even like oh man, I don't have the money. Here, I know a guy that's selling these diamonds. Can that help get rid of my debt? No, they didn't even talk about the debt. So why would they bring him in the back if it wasn't going to be about the debt? And there were so many things like that. I'll give you another example. At the end of the movie, Joe pulls his gun out on his dad and is like, are there blanks in my gun? Because his dad set up this whole con. And Joe's supposed to have blanks in his gun, so when he shoots at the person that he's supposed to fake kill, he doesn't actually kill him, it's just blanks. He thought when he killed his dad that somehow real bullets got in, and that's how he killed his father. So he's like, Dad, are these blanks or real bullets in my gun? Basically like, did you try to set me up to kill my uncle? And his dad's like, I don't know. Because how would he know? It's Joe's gun. Joe had the gun the whole time. How would he not know if there's blanks or real bullets? Literally, this whole movie was about his fear of doing this con because he messed it up and killed his dad. But he never checked the bullets in his gun to make sure that they were blanks before he pointed and was supposed to shoot at his uncle. He just didn't check for it. That makes no sense. It literally goes against his biggest fears and insecurities throughout this movie, which was messing up that con with his father, but they just throw that out the window for some fake suspense at the end of the movie where he shoots at his dad and it's just blanks. It just felt like they would forget what they had already established and contradict it in some way. It was so strange. Again, sorry if none of that made sense. I tried my best to convey this stupid movie to you to the best of my ability. But now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the one positive thing about this movie. Nicolas Cage. Now, Nicolas Cage plays the right-hand man, Eddie, of Joe's uncle. And he is a fellow con artist and helps with the bets and collecting money. I don't even know where to begin with this character. This is probably Nicolas Cage's most outrageous performance yet. In The Vampire's Kiss, he gets pretty crazy, but that was the point of the movie. It was a dark comedy where he's supposed to be insane, and so it fit the movie. Nicolas Cage sticks out like a sore thumb in this movie, but if there's one place to do that, it's in this shitty movie. Now, if this movie was good and written well, but Nicolas Cage's character was still the same, I'd be speaking negatively about it, because it would be a distraction to a very good movie that just didn't fit the tone at all. But because this movie is so bad, he's the only thing that's actually entertaining to watch with how outrageous he is. I mean, look at some... Here's a small compilation.
Watch it now. Now you're Hi, fucking yeah! All right! Okay, baby girl! Who sent ya? Who sent ya?
I just don't know what to start. I wanted to... Oh, shucks, here. One other world, one big happy family. What do you say we have some fun time, family fun?
Oh, you that fucking low man!
Crossy little fucking filthy double crossing filthy fucking goddamn fucking filthy little brat!
Well, hallelujah, man! The Joker's wild! You trying to take me out of the game? And squeeze in your fucking nephew, huh? Well, who's sitting behind your fucking desk now? Me! I'm behind your fucking desk now! Me!
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Jesus Christ, you stupid fucking
Hothead!
Come on, what is this? What the hell is going on here?
Huh? I'll
Hey,
show you
Eddie.
a fucking hothead,
Eddie,
man!
put
I'll
the
show
gun
you
down,
a hothead! What am I, a fucking retard, man? Am I a fucking retard, huh? I know what this is! You're trying to stop me out because of his greasy little nephew being around! Well, vive la fucking France, man!
Little bar hopping, he'll show you around. What do you think?
I mean, just absolutely insane. It's hilarious. I love it. And that's why I thought at first that this was a comedy. But he's the only person like this. Everyone else is super serious, like dark thriller, gritty con man movie. And then there's just Nick Cage going crazy. I don't know if he was like to his brother, yeah, I'll be in your movie, but I get to do whatever the hell I want, because that's what it felt like. Because it didn't fit the tone at all. Even his look. I mean, look, on this date that he's going with his girlfriend, he's wearing a prom suit for some reason. And it's all sparkly. It's hilarious. It really is. Honestly, if his character had lived throughout the whole movie and continued to be an integral part of the plot, I might have put this as a so bad it's good movie. I really might have. Because everything else sucked, but Nicolas Cage is so damn entertaining in this movie. Honestly, I wouldn't never recommend this movie, but maybe watch the parts that Nicolas Cage is in, because they are super entertaining and fun. So that is the one positive I have for this movie, just how unbelievably unhinged Nicolas Cage played this role. Was super fun. I can tell he had a good time. I don't think anyone else enjoyed making the movie, but he for sure did. Believe it or not, this dumpster fire of a movie bombed at the box office. So I mentioned that the budget got slashed from $8 million to $3 million, but it didn't even get close to making that $3 million back. It made $18,000 at the box office. To go along with that $18,000, it's got currently a 0% on Rotten Tomato. So critics and audiences alike did not enjoy this movie whatsoever. So in summation, we have a awkwardly written, boring, uninteresting thriller that I genuinely thought was a comedy for a second. Like I said, the only part that was even remotely interesting was Nicolas Cage. And because of all this is very easily going into the bad tier of movies. Although I am torn because I haven't put a movie in it yet, but under the bad tier, I do have Not Even Nicolas Cage Could Save This Movie, which I'm tempted to put in, but the problem is his part in this movie is really entertaining, is the only positive thing I have to say about it. But then they killed him about a quarter of the way through, or about 40 minutes in. So I'm a little torn, because when Nicolas Cage isn't in this movie, it's horrible. But I think he could have saved this movie had they not killed him. So I'm just going to put it in the bad tier. I might put some movies below it that are technically maybe better than it, but because I think Nicolas Cage could have saved this movie in some way, I'm going to keep it in bad. Well, those are my thoughts on Deadfall. If you've had the unpleasant experience of watching it, let me know what you thought of it. If you enjoyed, please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think about the movie if you saw it. If you haven't seen my other episodes, there's a playlist. Go check it out on my channel. Appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.